Right now on KGW, a terrifying story out of downtown Portland. The man accused of kidnapping and then trapping and assaulting a 74-year-old woman inside her own home. Plus, 2 people are found dead inside the landing gear compartment of a JetBlue plane that landed in Florida. And later, Vancouver's new police chief is answering the community's top questions, his vision for the department. But first, U.S. officials and public figures gathered to pay respects to former President Jimmy Carter during a special service at the nation's capital. Your News at Noon starts right now. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm China Green. Former President Jimmy Carter will lie in state at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda starting this afternoon. This is a live look at the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. A special memorial service is set to begin at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Vice President Kamala Harris, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, and House Speaker Mike Johnson will deliver eulogies. Carter's casket was carried out of the Carter Center in Atlanta this morning as the 39th president began his last journey to the U.S. Capitol. Carter's casket will be placed in the rotunda at about 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time today for the service and will be open to the public viewing from about 7 p.m. to midnight. His body will then lie in state through Thursday morning when there will be a service for him at Washington National Cathedral. The nation's 39th president is no stranger to Portland and the Pacific Northwest before, during, and even after his presidency. In 1976, he campaigned here with the City Club of Portland, and despite losing the state of Oregon in the general election in a very tight race, he had enough electoral votes to secure the White House. So take a look. Here he was in 1980, surveying the damage in the aftermath of the Mount St. Helens eruption. And much later in 2014, he was at Powell's signing hundreds of copies of his books on women's rights. Then a surprise visit in 2018 to Multnomah Falls with his wife, marking the Benson Bridge reopening for the first time since the Eagle Creek fire. And naturally, it took time to visit the gift shop after. You can watch our special continued coverage of President Carter's funeral streaming right now on our KGW Plus app on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. After a supercharged winter storm hit much of the Midwest and East Coast over the weekend, there's promising signs that the storm is losing its grip today. NBC's Sam Brock has more as the system leaves behind travel chaos in its wake.
An Arctic blast after an early winter storm. Now millions of Americans waking up to freezing temperatures and bone-chilling winds.
Mother Nature's winning.
Including in D.C. after almost a foot of snow blanketed the area. Snowplows here are still working overtime, and multiple states are preparing for freezing roads.
Stay safe, to let us do as much work possible, to let us clear as many roads.
After snow piled up in the Midwest amid dangerous conditions for drivers. This police dash cam video in Ohio capturing the moment a speeding car smacked into a tow truck responding to a call, luckily avoiding 2 people standing near the truck. As treacherous conditions partly to blame for at least 4 weather-related deaths and whiteout conditions snarling travel. Lake effect snow forcing an hours-long ground stop at Chicago's O'Hare Airport Monday as the nation absorbed more than 4,000 cancellations in 2 days. Some travelers finally leaving Kansas City's MCI Airport after waiting through this security line.
This is my 3rd chance to try to get out.
While here in D.C.,
this is the most at one time that I've ever seen since living here.
Residents and visitors in the nation's capital trying to make their way through the snow, some playing in a traditional snowball fight, others even cross-country skiing through the National Mall.
Was it supposed to be a day off or because of the weather?
Because of the weather.
The city representing the world's power capital, powerless against these harsh winter conditions. But some new residents, the giant pandas at the National Zoo, reveling in their first American winter wonderland.
Our Rod Hill has been tracking this, and Rod, it might be our turn at some point in the next week and a half or 2.
Yes, I'm going to start my longer weathercast in a handful of minutes talking about that cold weather change. And of course, when you think of cold weather change, you think about possible snow, and we'll get into all of that. We mentioned that storm loosening its grip. It's all gone. The only thing that remains is the cold weather. And of course, that means a lot of snow and ice, depending on location, still on the ground. D.C., that was under a winter storm warning at this time yesterday, is now mainly dry. dry and 35 degrees, but it's only in the 20s in Wichita. It's only in the 30s in Dallas, and that's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time. Here at home, we are dry, but we're not seeing much sun. I'm kind of hoping for a partly sunny afternoon. It's turning out to be mostly cloudy than partly sunny, but we are dry and will continue to be dry for your afternoon hours. So no weather concerns for you. Here are the live cameras. Lincoln City, our Snookwinds Casino Resort camera, 44 degrees. The clouds keeping temperatures down somewhat. Here are the solid clouds from Willamette Valley Vineyards just south of Salem. And then here in Portland, despite the cloud cover, we have warmed to 49, which means we'll probably hit 50 again today. Can't seem to stop hitting 50 lately. 47 to 4 o'clock. We'll still be dry at 8 o'clock. Again, we'll get into that cold weather change coming up in a bit.
Thank you, Rod. Here's a look at some national headlines this afternoon. 2 people were found dead inside the landing gear of a JetBlue plane in Fort Lauderdale late last night. JetBlue says a discovery was made during a routine inspection at around 11:30. The aircraft had originated in Kingston, Jamaica, and stopped at multiple U.S. airports before landing in Fort Lauderdale, where the bodies were discovered. Investigators have not released how the 2 people may have gained access to the plane. The man accused of burning a woman to death while she was sleeping on a New York City subway train pleaded not guilty today to murder and arson charges. Prosecutors say 33-year-old Sebastian Zepeda lit the woman on fire on a stopped train at Brooklyn's Coney Island station on December 22nd. Zepeda had previously confirmed to police that he was the man in surveillance photos and videos of the fire. A federal judge has temporarily blocked the release of Jack Smith's investigation into Donald Trump. Judge Eileen Cannon is overseeing the classified documents against the president-elect. An appeals court is weighing a challenge to the disclosure of a much-anticipated document just days before Trump reclaims office. And the Biden administration has announced an initiative to ban the inclusion of medical bills on credit reports and stop lenders from using medical information when they use and have lending decisions. The new rule would affect roughly 15 million Americans who could see their credit scores rise by almost 20 points after the debit is removed. And those are a look at your national headlines. In developing local news this afternoon, a terrifying story out of downtown Portland. A man is in custody after allegedly kidnapping and barricading a 74-year-old woman in her own home before sexually assaulting her. Here's what we know so far. Police say 69-year-old Kenneth Williams right there offered to help carry groceries for the woman on December 23rd. They didn't know each other. Once at her home in downtown Portland, investigators say he barricaded the door, blocking her from leaving, and assaulted her over 3 days. She finally got Williams to leave. That's when she went to the hospital.
We cannot imagine what this woman went through. Absolutely horrifying. Nobody should have to go through something like this.
Here's Williams' photo again. Investigators believe that there could be similar unreported cases and urge those people to contact Portland police. Williams faces rape, kidnapping, and burglary charges. He's expected in court this afternoon. So we shared this crazy video yesterday on KGW, and we're showing it again this afternoon because we have an update for you. The driver of the truck that crashed through that Polk County convenience store refused to appear in court yesterday. Apparently, John Marlas was supposed to appear before a judge, but he would not leave his jail cell. Marlas allegedly got out of the truck after that crash last weekend, grabbed a beer and some cigarettes from the store, and then tried to back his way out. His charges include reckless driving, DUI, and robbery. This Friday, doctors and nurses at Providence hospitals and clinics across Oregon could go on strike, including some 60 to 70 physicians at Providence St. Vincent. Now, because of the potential strike, Providence says it's capping the number of patients doctors will see at that site effective immediately. Providence says 320 patients are currently cared for by physicians at St. Vincent. If the strike happens, Providence estimates the doctors will only be able to serve between 250 and 275 patients. The Oregon Health Authority tells us hospitals must have a plan in place to continue providing quality care during a strike. Hospitals have to continue providing emergency care but can cancel elective appointments and procedures. Tonight, 52 new overnight shelter beds will be available in Portland's Old Town for homeless women. This is part of the city's new winter shelter plan, which will bring 200 more beds to 2 Salvation Army locations. The first batch will open off West Burnside and 2nd and will be open for 90 days. The city of Portland and Multnomah County have each committed $375,000 towards the plan. In addition to providing a place to stay, the shelter will also have food, showers, and laundry services. Vancouver new police chief is answering some of the community's top questions on his vision for the department. Chief Troy Price was sworn in early last month. He recently sat down with our Blair Best on what he wants to change.
I look at how our jails are utilized now. And jails are mainly a place to warehouse people who are pending trial or who are doing time. And we've got to kind of change our thinking on that. And the jail should be a place where your time isn't idle. We're going to help you leave this place better than you were when you came in.
He also told us that he is working on a new funding package to get staffing numbers up. Right now, the department needs about 80 more officers to be considered fully staffed. They currently have about 230, serving a population of 200,000. Our team on the story asked him plenty of questions. You can watch the full interview right now on our KGW YouTube page.